There you have the sister-in-law of Christine Blasey Ford, Professor Ford, and on the phone with us is Trish Turner, ABC News correspondent from Washington. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
So much going on, so much we don't know. Can you enlighten us?
Oh, boy. There is a lot going on. You're right. And we're in uncharted territory for the most part. Lots of echoes of the 1991, Anita Hill, Clarence
Absolutely.
Thomas hearings here. But so last night, the dam broke, essentially. Dr. Ford, as you said, she's agreed to come forward and testify. Unclear when. She says next week she's willing to come. And they just have to nail out some dates. There've been, Thursday's been floated out there. I've been told by the committee, don't assume that's the date that's chosen. They have to kind of decide a lot of things. Is it public or is it private? What's the order? Obviously, Dr. Ford's attorneys are trying to argue, the best possible situation for their client. So they're asking that Kavanaugh go first and their client go second.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems a little backwards. You would think that Kavanaugh would get a chance to confront the charges as Clarence Thomas did. He did go first. Anita Hill went second, but the committee brought Clarence Thomas back in the evening and had him answer for the charges that were laid out against him by Hill. So
yeah, as a lawyer,
something like that might happen.
Yeah, as a lawyer, I agree with you. It's if you have charges, you lay them out there, and then the person who we presume, this isn't a court case, but we presume they are innocent, allow them to defend against those charges.
That's right. That's exactly right. And as a lawyer, you argue as a defense counsel for the everything under the sun for your client, and then you hope you end up somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. Now, we've heard a lot about terms, conditions. She'll testify privately, publicly. Anything out there right now telling us which direction this hearing is headed, if it's a hearing at all?
That's a good question. No indication yet what that will be. I can tell you that there's lots of pressure for this to be public. You need the public. The members are aware of this. You need the public to have confidence in the Supreme Court. It has to stand alone outside of the political arena, as a beacon of justice. So you certainly can bet that a lot of members want this to be something that's out in the public. They have to keep it from, a lot of people don't want it to turn into was rather a circus-like atmosphere around the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill proceedings. The whole panel back then was male.
Oh,
all of them, and that's rough. That's rough optics. Republicans are all men on this committee still, and so they're aware of that. They're even talking about possibly bringing in outside counsel, being at least a couple of women. We've heard so, and we understand Dr. Ford's lawyers have a problem with that. So we'll see where this ends up.
And that don't people see through that? Isn't that a little
right?
Look, we're going to bring a woman in because she can't handle questioning from men. The only thing is, they don't want it to look like it's all men. What's the timeline? I know that the president was saying, let's get this thing done. Some of the members were saying, by Friday, if you don't give us a yes or no, we're moving forward. Any idea now where the timeline sits?
No, I think it's going to happen next week. Republicans do, as you say, really want to get this off their plate. We are headed into the midterms. They know this doesn't look good. The optics, quite frankly, are just terrible. So, Democrats really want to delay this. So there's a tug of war here with this. But you have to remember there's a human being in the middle. And so, Dr. Ford has serious allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. Both Kavanaugh and Ford, their families have experienced death threats. It's just terrible what's happening to these people. You don't know where the truth lies. And so I think most want to get this over with. Let's have Dr. Ford present her accusations, and do so hopefully in public, and then people, then the vote can happen. Republicans have no interest in dragging this out. Like I said, the November election is midterms are just so close, just weeks away, and they want to get this out off their plate and get Brett Kavanaugh in the court on Monday. He's already missing a deadline. The justices will sit without with one justice short as they choose their cases for the new term. It's a really big deal, and there will be one justice shy of as they choose those cases.
Now, on the other hand, the Republicans held up Merrick Garland's nomination for many, many months and didn't seem particularly fazed by the fact that the court was short.
That's right. You're exactly right. That is exactly what Democrats are saying. What's the rush here? We know what you're doing, and you didn't give Merrick Garland, President Obama's choice for the court, you didn't even give him a hearing. You didn't even you barely said his name.
Right.
And so of course Republicans tried to say, look, that's the tradition in a presidential election year. We're not in a presidential election year now. So that they see it as different, of course.
Last question for Trish Turner. The president came out, it seemed to be conciliatory toward a hearing and allowing Professor Ford to have her moment to discuss it, yet he came out last night with, every time he gets in front of a crowd, he needs to rev them up and said, well, why didn't they call the FBI 36 years ago? Why didn't she call the police? All the things that I'm sure his colleagues in the Senate wish he would not say, because those are victim shaming, and that's right. Contributes to the optics being bad.
It's really, you're exactly right. These rallies tend to bring out, a different side of the president. He's unleashed from his advisors and unshackled from a more restrained speech. So we tend to hear a far different, turn of phrase out of President Trump, or sentiment out of him when he's out on the campaign trail. Red meat for his base, but it's dangerous. Republicans need women. They need the women vote. The woman vote.
Right.
It's a very big deal, and President Trump's numbers, according to recent polls, including our own, have been tanking. More so than any other demographic, women have, especially college-educated white women, have been leaving him in double digits. It's got to worry, and I know it has in private conversations. It's really worrying Republicans. Trish Turner, ABC News correspondent from Washington. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Thank you for your insight.